Hey everyone, this is part one of a two-part episode. She's Gwen Stefaniing right now, dude. Like taking on the whole Blake Shelton, Oklahoma farm ranch life. It's time to take A Therapeutic Dose, a prescription-strength reality TV podcast that explores the intersection of reality TV and therapy. Possible side effects may include entertainment, strong emotional reactions, and/or laughter. Here are your hosts, Ramona Ramirez and Margie McGee.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to A Therapeutic Dose, where we meet at the intersection of reality TV and therapy. I am Margie McGee, and with me, as always, is my dear friend and co-host.
Hello, I am Ramona Ramirez, and in honor of the episode, I have on my very favorite, most glamorous caftan. I'm thrilled I had an excuse to get out of my closet.
It looks amazing, and it's a whole look, by the way. Your nails and your glasses and your earrings, like everything matches.
Thank you. I forgot my jewels upstairs. I feel weird without my rings on, but whatever.
It's working.
It's fine.
Breezy.
Yeah. My bamboo hoops. Threw on a thick eyeliner, got my aviators. I would have worn this
to that party.
To that party. I absolutely would have, and I would have felt completely appropriately dressed amidst these extremely wealthy women in their gorgeous caftans.
That's the beauty of a caftan. It's like even a cheap one, they're designed so that they all move gracefully and beautifully and they all look great. But you look rich. That looks gorgeous.
Well, I mean, I should. It's like, it's vintage. It's snakeskin. I believe it's silk. It has gold thread throughout. It's like this beautiful gold color. I am obsessed with caftans. Like every time I go to Palm Springs, that's all I really pack besides bathing suits. There's a caftan life. I have friends that are also part of that caftan life, and I feel that Dorit really missed a golden opportunity to expand her horizons. When she said she doesn't like caftans, I was like, well.
But I believe her when she said she didn't read the invitation.
Really?
Thoroughly. I do.
I mean, it said caftans and caviar and caftans in it. That's what J. Till said.
I know, but she's going through a divorce. And
You're right.
Sleep
You're right.
And
you're right.
You're
right.
to get a lawyer or not, or I don't know.
You're right.
I just feel like if I were in that headspace, I might have missed it too.
Okay.
You know? I would see the caviar part and the location and be like, great, I'll be there.
Damn, dude. Class warfare.
Oh, it was so gross.
Warfare in this episode.
It's indefensible. I hope.
I mean,
I did think, I'm like, is this going to be what tears Ramona and I apart? Is there any defense for Sutton after this? There is.
I will get there. It's not, it's ugly and it's terrible. And the first thing I thought of is Bill at Walgreens. I was vicious that day. Like when Dorit said she could eviscerate Sutton, like I don't think that this man expected this frazzled mom in a raincoat trying to wrangle a 1-year-old and balance all the stuff that I had to check out at Walgreens. And when he poked the bear, I went for blows that were so fucking low. And I left and I felt terrible.
That's the difference. That's what separates you from Sutton.
In the Watch What Happens Live after, Jennifer Tilly was the guest, and so was Crystal Minkoff. And Jennifer Tilly said that Sutton also felt awful. And
I'll believe it when I hear it from Sutton.
Okay.
I think Jennifer Tilly is so kind to that woman and must be very forgiving. But Sutton had time to think about it. And in her confessional, she said, I don't regret it. I won't regret it. I'm proud I said it. She'd had time. That was not in the heat of the moment. That was well after.
You're right.
She is not a good person. I believe after it aired, her friend is doing damage control, and I think that's nice, but I don't think it's honest.
She said that production cut it out, like her reaction, her debrief, her postmortem of that scene with Jennifer. She said that, oh God, I went too far. I want to give her the bag. But you're right. In her confessional, She doubled down. And those confessionals are probably filmed like
months after.
Absolutely.
Okay. She had time to think about it. She had time to reconsider it. She watched the footage back in order to have that moment. And here we are. That was just, and I think, again, it's all projection. I'm just sensitive because of what is going on in our country right now.
Absolutely.
And I feel like
Absolutely.
that is representative of who is at the helm right now. And that is a disgusting attitude. And if, like you're not immediately remorseful, you're a pig. So I'm done. I'm with Dorit. I can't stomach one more minute of this woman.
It was shocking.
It wasn't. It felt right in alignment with who she is. She wanted everyone to shut up at that table, and she found a way to do it. And with time and distance from the moment of impact, she said again, I'm proud of it. That's what she said. I'm proud. She wouldn't have been friends with Garcelle 6 years ago, 10 years ago, if this is her attitude. And if Garcelle was a person, she would think that through and be like, oh, I don't want to be with someone who will only be friends with me because my wallet makes sense to her or whatever.
I mean, I feel like Dorit went for the jugular about Sutton's drinking last season, and she's done it again this season. That is one of Sutton's, in my opinion, again, I am projecting obviously, but it's got to be like her sore spot, like one of the sources.
There's truth to it.
Right, exactly. That's why Sutton went for that with Dorit. Like their financial problems have been headlines in gossip blogs.
Sure.
But
again,
the fact that we speculate whether or not PK orchestrated the robbery in order to collect insurance money, like his debts to casinos, like they both went for their sore spots is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it just seemed it seemed completely unnecessary. First of all, there are some moments in here where she's unforgivable, like saying stuff like balance your meds and blah, blah, blah. And like, all of her money bought her was a horse instead of a man. I'm like, who wrote that line? That is so lame.
It was classism and internalized misogyny.
Yeah, nobody comes out looking great, but I'll just say at the end of the day, the alcoholic with bigger money wins, and Sutton knows that.
Yeah.
So she did a great job. She shut it down.
She did.
Congratulations. And again, I feel like that's a sickness. If you're willing to do that to someone, anyone, no matter what they've said to you, I think that's a darkness.
It was premeditated as well. Like
she picked the fight.
Meditated. Yeah. She knew what she was doing.
At Dorit's party, she picked the fight at this stupid thing. And Dorit tried to broach it gently at the beginning when Sutton ordered water, and Dorit turned to her quietly and said, is this because of our tete-a-tete? Sorry, that's a gentler entry than
I didn't find it gentle. I found it passive-aggressive and judgy.
How would you have initiated that conversation, though?
I wouldn't have done that conversation. I would have stayed the F out of that conversation.
But you're on a reality show. And,
okay, if I'm on a reality show.
Let's say the charge from the producers is like, you have to address this at this event. How do you open that topic of conversation?
What would I do? Margie, I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine what I would do. So
this
that's
is not my world. Right.
Yeah. But I guess we should be grateful. I don't know. Like we both don't know how we would approach it. Oh God, if I was on a reality show, what would I say? Because Ramona, I would say, listen, what I said the other day was so fucked up. I hope you don't feel like you have to drink water in front of me, because I don't judge you. Like what you do with your alcohol is your business. I obviously am triggered a lot by alcohol right now because of what's going on with my husband. It has nothing to do with you. I don't want to fight, and I'm sorry. But that's what I would say. I don't know what I would say if I was on that show. What would you say?
I probably would have tried, because again, I project everything onto Sutton. She's my dad. I would have tested the waters too. I would not just go in with my full heart bare. I would be like, what do we have today? And Dorit said it. You never know. I never know what Sutton I'm going to get. And she tested the waters and found out. And
God.
It's all bad, but Sutton, she just didn't give a shit. She felt the whole room turn on her, and she didn't care. She kept going. Sorry, can you hear that?
I love it. Hi, Evelyn. Sorry. Hi, Evelyn. I love it. She has something to say about Sutton, too. Evelyn's pissed, and she's not going to take it anymore.
No, she is not having class warfare at a hot potato caviar party.
Oh, my God.
I love rich people. I love that. A place that sells twice baked potatoes with a pile of caviar on top. I'm like, that is for a bored rich person, and I love it. It's
Oh my
so
God.
great. That's what makes me want to be rich. None of these like conversations and Faye Resnick and all that stuff. But I want a twice baked potato with caviar for
I
$1,000. That's what I
mean,
want.
we saw the morally corrupt Faye fucking Resnick on this episode, and she really, oh, Jesus. We'll get there.
Yeah,
Hashtag we'll get there. I'm just joking. Hashtag we'll get there. It's just we say that a lot.
we
And
do.
so,
We do.
yeah. Margie,
What?
we'll get there has a double meaning in regards to our podcast. We are in the process of getting there. The there being like the inner peace, the self-love, the self-compassion, the radical acceptance, mostly the inner peace, all ultimating in self-love. And I'm not saying that we don't experience that at times, but like as a baseline, as like the norm of our existence, we'll get there. We are getting there. Woo.
That's the goal, man.
Anyway.
We start. Oh no, but you have to tell me the title because now
Oh,
it's just
yeah.
like I just simply refuse to look at it. Apparently, it's just
I
habit.
love it so much. It's one of my favorite things to do when I take notes. It's season 14, episode 13 of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. This episode is entitled Caviar Catastrophe. Apropos. Apropos. Is that French, apropos?
Oh, it is.
All right.
How about that? I don't know the root of it, even though I took like 15,000 years of French and have traveled there. But
Oh my God.
apropos.
Apropos.
We opened with Dorit playing basketball with Jagger, which was adorable. Garcelle is talking through the opening credits of one of her movies, I guess, with her producer. Erika talks to her mom, and this was the first thing that sort of landed on me. So Erika's done this big renovation. She's clearly invited her mom out to like come take a look. And she says, you know, you have to sleep in the bed with me, but I'm excited. This should be fun. Are you excited? And then there's like a long pause and then the most unenthusiastic, yeah? It's like, oh no. And Erika just lowers her hand with the phone in it in total disappointment. And I feel like every child has had that conversation with a parent.
Oh my God.
Where you're
And
just
then
like, oh, okay,
and
I tried so hard and I'm excited, but you're just going to, okay.
it explains so much about Erika's tendency to be droll in situations. Her mom's drollness is uninspired and not entertaining. It definitely reads as, at best, hard to read, at worst, a little cruel. But, you know, Erika can be entertaining in her drollness. As much as I don't like her life choices, she's a fucking great housewife. What am I going to say? She's a great this episode, as awful as it was, I feel like this was a Real Housewives episode. Like this is why we tune into these shows.
Yeah, this cast is great. And the editing's so good. Like,
Yeah.
we needed Jennifer Tilly to come back. We really needed that.
Oh my God.
breath of fresh air, that
she gave
hovering
you
above.
a trip. She
What's
gave
that?
you the gift of tripping on the way in to
Oh, it's like a motif this season. We had
Oh my
Garcelle
God.
doing it last
Yeah.
week and Jennifer this week.
I was real
But
happy
she
for you.
recovered they both recovered so fast. They must be like me where it happens with some frequency, so you just no longer invest in the embarrassment of it all.
Oh my God.
But it was great.
It was. I was happy for you that it happened. Oh my God.
We have Jennifer Tilly at Caviar Caspia talking with her assistant and some event planner there, I guess, about hosting this event for the women. She reveals she's not a connoisseur, and I love this about her. This didn't gross me out. She said it's probably gross, but I just ordered the most expensive thing on the menu. And I'm like, if you have the means to do so, absolutely, absolutely, in every situation.
Wants someone else to get the bill, though. That's hilarious. And you just hope that someone else gets the bill. And I'm like, dude, you're probably as rich as Sutton. I know she was being cheeky about it. I obviously don't know this woman in real life. We only know her on camera. I believe she shows us what she wants us to see. I believe that she is hilarious. Like, she is truly a unique personality in every way, shape, or form. And I admire that she doesn't give a flying fuck what anyone really thinks of her. But where the hell was I going with this? Where was I going with
Expensive dinner?
this? Expensive dinner. Like, I don't know. That's maybe how really uber rich people stay rich.
Well, I mean, she did host this event, and that was what, like 20 ladies at $1,000 per potato? That's not even the other courses.
They're $1,000?
Yeah, they put the little thing on the bottom of the screen. It said like $700 to $1,000 per potato. Potato.
Oh
That's
my
not including
God.
champagne. So if you go to dinner with 6 people, you've spent $12,000 by the time everyone's had a potato, a main dish, and some booze. It's, you know, it's a
Okay. How did I miss that menu? Oh my
It was
God.
just they just flashed it like in a little chyron at the bottom of the screen when they were serving the baked
Oh my
potatoes.
God.
And I,
Oh
of
my
course, was like, my
God.
hair blew back. I was like, what? $1,000 for a russet potato
I
with
mean,
a scoop of caviar? Oh my God, rich people.
I didn't think it was going to be like $30 or anything, but $1,000.
Yes.
That is, wow.
Mhm.
Wow. I appreciated the ostentatiousness of this event
Yeah.
because it wasn't lame like Heather Dubrow with
Yes.
lame Etsy typeface on a fucking Instagram wall. This is opulence and indulgent and original and sumptuous. This is like, how do I explain it? It's luxury. It's it's art. That tablescape was
Yeah.
effing gorgeous. The
Those
colors,
flowers.
the
Oh my
flowers,
God. Every
all of
one of
it.
them was perfect.
Perfect. If I didn't hear these women speak at all, it was a feast for my eyes. Last night's episode, a feast for my eyes.
Yeah.
Anyway,
No, it was a wonderful event. And again, it's why Jennifer Tilly, I love having her as
I
part
do
of this
too.
cast because she
I do
does shit like
too.
this. She has the $1,000 potato event. And then Sutton comes to meet Jennifer Tilly there, and Jennifer gives Sutton a trinket from wherever she was in Italy. And I'm sure it's something, this trinket probably costs as much as a potato, you know?
And she's like, I just got you a little cheap
Just
thing.
something cheap. And it was
Oh,
not like an airport magnet. It was
it
like a
was
gorgeous piece of like handmade ceramics or something.
it was
It's lovely.
stunning. Little porcelain
Yeah.
dish or something. Yeah.
And then, oh, I did wonder, did you react to the Dolce and Gabbana thing? Because I think you hate them, or did
I
I?
do. I do
Okay.
hate them. And that's one thing that I see. I'm fucking full hip too. I call people out for being full hip. I am full hip. They are homophobic.
Mm.
If you Google Dolce and Gabbana homophobia, like they don't believe that gay couples should be allowed to adopt children.
Oh my God.
Right?
What
It's
industry do they think they're in? What are they
I
doing?
I don't
I
know.
don't
And
understand how people can be homophobic in like arts and entertainment. I just literally
I
don't
know.
understand.
I don't either,
It's your whole
especially
community.
because they're gay. I don't understand either. And it's like, okay, when I make the assumption, I'm the ass. You know what I mean? I mean, they're tight with Dolce and Gabbana. Like when they didn't they go to Milan when Lisa Rinna and Denise were still on the show? They
Sutton
went
and Jennifer Tilly, you mean?
not that well. Jennifer Tilly wasn't on this season, but Sutton took a handful of the women to the Dolce and Gabbana like a
Mm-hmm.
atelier,
Mm-hmm.
and they know her. Like they probably text message. They don't speak through assistants. They have a personal relationship. They made her a tiara. She is in custom couture Dolce and Gabbana all the time. So is Jennifer Tilly. They're VIP at Dolce and Gabbana. First name basis. You get my point. I don't need to be so heavy-handed, but especially now in this wretched, bewildering timeline that we find ourselves in, before I spend money somewhere, I look to see what these companies doing. I try not to use Google right now. I switched to a DuckDuckGo browser because they don't track me and they're not problematic. I haven't shopped at Amazon or Whole Foods in over 5 years. I think I did once because I needed physical therapy equipment that I couldn't effing find anywhere. It's a hard habit to break. I understand why people need to use Amazon. It's fast. It can be relatively inexpensive. Most people don't have the luxury of being able to take 5 hours to research where to buy something so that they don't have to buy something on Amazon. You know, I get
I
it. I
I
get it.
inspired by you, I gave up my Amazon habit almost no, not a year ago. Last summer, I
Wow.
stopped. Inspired by you, and I was like, I'll just try it and see if I can do it. And you do realize you still don't have to leave your house. Other places deliver
Right.
all this shit to you. Like I literally was like, oh, and some things are way less expensive. Like it just was
Yeah,
like
exactly.
it had just become a habit, and it is so easy. But it's also, and I'm not saying I'll never go back to it, but
Mm-hmm.
I haven't needed to yet. So until like
Mm-hmm.
that need arises, it feels a little cleaner, at least just in some way, to be separated from that particular corporation
And
for
and
a
you can't
spell.
you can't escape it. What I've recently learned is that they don't make the majority of their money from their marketplace. They make it from everyone using their servers.
Hmm.
AWS, I can't remember what Amazon Work Server, Amazon Work Services or something. The platform we're recording on right now might be serviced by Amazon. They dominate it, and you can't escape it. Josh will order things for Leo, and he reluctantly but willingly gave up Amazon too. And he'll order things and they are shipped by Amazon anyway. So
Hmm.
it's like you can't escape it. I understand. Like when people have the ethical fashion debate. Ethical fashion, buying secondhand, it takes time and research. And ethical fashion can often cost more money. And I remember there was this one store in Portland that posted something a few years ago. She just ripped on people that bought fast fashion. And I was like, hey, man, I wrote a comment. Listen, you may not know what it's like to be a single mom of multiple children working a fucking full-time job, trying to stretch out her paycheck to paycheck and pay for food. And that might be the only place she can shop. So you need to watch it. Buying ethical fashion, having time to buy secondhand, it takes time. And some people in our fucked up society that's all about productivity and work, 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 like they don't have that luxury. Do I like that anyone's being exploited for fast fashion? No. Do I like that it's filling up the landfills? Absolutely not. But it's not that easy. I do what I can. My point is that they are besties with people that are problematic. And what am I going to do, dude? If I want to watch these shows, I have to turn the other cheek. I have to let it go.
I mean,
And I don't want to give up
honestly,
these shows.
for all of Faye Resnick's flaws, I thought she had a perfect
Oh my God.
assessment of everything that you're talking about right now when she said, we all have flaws. We do not want to be put in a box because of them. We do not want to be labeled and pigeonholed because of them. We just want to
Yeah.
live our lives with our
Yeah.
flaws intact. And I was like,
Oh,
oh my
dude.
God, wisdom from,
The morally corrupt Faye Resnick.
but we can't put her in that box. She
I know.
busted out of it for that moment. I
Oh
thought
my
that was
God.
like insanely wise. And I don't think it was intentional on her end. I don't think she knew how, what a strong assessment that was. But
Wow.
Dolce and
Yes.
Gabbana,
Dolce and Gabbana. Sutton says that she needs to get with a billionaire.
this fucking
And
woman.
that
God.
conversation was amazing. Jennifer Tilly brings up the Cartier bracelet that Christian once gifted Sutton. Jennifer Tilly was like, I was jealous. I'm highly entertained by watching these two in their own world, just giving us a bird's eye view into it. Yeah, it's why I tune into these shows. It's why I tune in. And am not willing to not tune in because they might be besties with problematic couture designers. What are you going to do? Sutton fills Jennifer Tilly in on Dorit's passive-aggressive comment about the watermelon cocktail. And then in her confessional says, Dorit started the drinking rumor last year. You know what? She's not that clever. And she tells Jennifer Tilly that she called her a bitch. And Jennifer Tilly really doesn't react like anyone at the party did. And that's what kind of fascinates me about Jennifer Tilly. Like, she was just observing the conversation. She had very minimal facial expressions other than watching what was going down while putting her caviar canapé into her mouth and chewing like she was at a movie. It was something to see. She tells Jennifer Tilly that she called Dorit a bitch, and Jennifer Tilly braces herself for when Sutton sees Dorit for the first time since the 4th of July party.
I just want to note that Sutton
Please.
distorted the facts by saying Dorit started this alcoholism thing last year. It was Kyle who started it. Dorit made one comment that was addressed one other time at the reunion. So Sutton has chosen a target here, and she has zeroed in, and she is not going to let up.
Yeah, she's rewriting history, and she's going for the jugular about finances. Damn it, dude.
It's so it's weirdly cheap of her to take that shot. Then we have Kyle's therapy session. We open on some dog chaos at her house, and then Jamie Green, a therapist and life coach, arrives for a house call. And they hug, which made me immediately uncomfortable because the only time one of my therapists hugged me is when that explosive broken engagement went down, and I was not well, and it was time for my session to be over, and I was leaving, and she was like, that was the one time in 25 years of therapy that I ever received a hug from a therapist. So I was just weirded out that was their like casual greeting. But maybe I have like weird boundary.
No, I just think that it might be case by case. I'm not sure. I know that Fran, my very first therapist that I started seeing when I was 16, when my family fucking imploded because of my father's drinking. She specialized in helping the family members of alcoholics. I was a child, and she had so much compassion and love for me. I can still feel her hugs and smell her perfume. Again, like when I'm doing a meditation or a therapist is like, think of a safe space, think of a safe person. She is my safe space and my safe person. And she loved me the way I could not love myself. And she started me on this journey, and she hugged me all the time. And it was exactly what I needed as that 16-year-old, angry, terrified, shame-filled, teenager. Her energy was what I needed. It was so just loving and compassionate, and I felt it in her hugs. Oh, I would do anything for one of her hugs now. I cherish the memory of Fran. Fran, I raise my Zoji Rushi ginger wellness concoction to you. And I hope I see you again someday in whatever plane we reunite in. All roads lead to Bravo. All roads lead to Bravo. I looked up Jamie Green just to see because, the life coach / therapist makes me a little itchy. I don't know.
But I wonder if that's what allows you to do a casual house call like this, or I don't know. No, I guess Dr. Jen does it. I don't know. I thought he was good.
I'm happy to read his bio.
Sure.
Born and raised in England, Jamie has been through it all. He survived boarding school, endured disastrous relationships, excelled as an 80s pop drummer, hobnobbed with royalty. You name it, he's witnessed it all. His own experiences have helped him to empathize and assist others with extraordinary situations. At 18, he attended Pepperdine University in Malibu and gained his BS, so his Bachelor in Science, I think, in sports medicine, graduating in 1986. His Zen-like approach to personal coaching, combined with his British sense of humor and refreshing straight talk, has built a thriving reputation as a licensed psychotherapist, teacher, mentor, and leadership trainer, helping hundreds of teens, adults, couples, executives, and teams change their entire perspective of work and life. That's Jamie Green.
Nothing about that bothered me. Does he still skeeve you or no?
No, I don't like Kyle.
Oh,
I don't like Kyle.
Fair. That's fair.
And the fact that it seems like, and again, I acknowledge that the producers might have said, hey, do a little check-in with him, say hi, catch him up. So, is it regular therapy like I do once, maybe twice a week, depending on what situation I'm in? Or is it okay, let's do this for the show? Is she taking it seriously?
I thought whether she did or not, he did. I found it really impressive that he would not let her be a victim. He did what I appreciate in my therapist, because I go in with, again, I spotted, I got it. I go in the same way Kyle does. I'll never forget the therapy session I had where I was dating this guy, and It wound up not working out. And I was like, he used me. And she goes, you used each other. And I was like, oh my God, you're right. That's what I count on a therapist for, because I can get so lost in my own narrative and it can feel so convincing. And I thought he did a really nice job of busting her in the moments where she started to slip. And he almost looked impatient at one moment when she was like, Mauricio's out there living his best life, happy as a camper. And he's like, why can't you do that? You know, and she's like, well, I'm just working. And meanwhile, this man clearly knows about Morgan. So I'm sure he's like,
Oh my
dude,
God. I mean,
you started this before you were separated. Come on, man.
and he is, if we compare him and contrast him to Erika Jane's therapist, Dr. Jen Berman, formerly, I don't know what her last name is, Jen Mann, I think, formerly of celebrity rehab fame. Like, Jen is really like a champion and a cheerleader for Erika. And Jamie Green did push back. And I agree. He had revelatory takes on things. And you're right. He did not let her wallow. He confronted her. We'll get there in a few minutes.
Well,
But
I
yeah.
think that what makes a therapist, like what separates them from someone like me who just has thoughts and opinions, is their approach to different personalities.
Yeah.
Dr. Jen approaches Erika because I don't think Erika would listen if it wasn't a champion cheerleader who showed up at her doorstep. I think the only way to make progress with a personality type like Erika's is what Dr. Jen does. And I feel like it's effective. I feel like it's slowly working. Same with this guy, he approaches Kyle the way she needs to be approached, which is sort of like batting her down when she's like, "Mama," and he's like, no,
Yeah.
let's touch down in reality here and see the
Yeah.
whole picture.
You're right. I agree. I agree. I wanted not to like him, but I did. I
Yeah.
did like his takes. I agree with you.
I now have,
Wholeheartedly.
as you know, I found my therapist from
Yes.
a reality show. And so I am now prone to just dial in and be like, is this another good one? Maybe I'll check them out too. But
Oh, you're right, Margie. You're right. You're right. Reality TV is not trash. You found your
No.
therapist through reality TV.
and she's remarkable.
Yeah.
And it was because she was not interested in celebrity or anything other than the mental well-being of the person sitting on the couch across from her. And I just thought that was so, yeah, that's all I wanted. Anyways, Kyle starts whining about Mauricio traveling with Portia. This is the first summer they won't be together. Kyle's annoyed with people asking her if she and Mauricio are getting divorced. And then she said something which I thought was kind of insightful. She said, I'm impatient because I want to know what my life's going to be. I relate to that place. That is such a hard place to be.
I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, to back up a second, like Mo's having fun. And I was like, dude, you're with Morgan. You are also having fun.
You're on a world tour with your rock star. Like, please stop it.
Please stop it. Right. As far as the impatient because she wants to know what her life is going to be, as much as it pains me to relate and share anything with Kyle Richards, I understand this to my core. Future tripping is where anxiety is born and bred. Knowing what's going to happen feels like it brings me a sense of security. I just got back from Portland, so I had to pack. The weather there is drastically different from the weather here. We were also going to do things in the snow. I didn't know what I needed, and it panics me because feeling like I'm going to be taken care of wherever I go gives me a false sense of security. And I know that it sounds crazy that packing is so triggering for me, but it's just a metaphor for wanting to know exactly what Kyle did. I want to know what my life is going to be for a few days, for a week. I want to know what my life is going to be. I don't want to feel uncomfortable. I want to feel taken care of. But anxiety right now in my life is ruining it. My need to control and manage is causing me great pain, great emotional dysregulation. I feel like I'm hitting a rock bottom with it. I'm not going to lie. All roads lead to Bravo. All roads lead to Bravo. I'm relating to Kyle Richards. 100%.
I mean, she had me through that sentence. And then she lost me when she said, it's different for men. He's living his best life, happy his little, and I was just like, oh, Kyle.
I'm sorry. I agreed with her.
in principle, sure. In the circumstances of her
yes.
situation,
Right.
she dated Morgan on camera for it's not different for men. In this situation, you're the man you're saying it's different for. You're the one who met someone else, paraded her around, and then asked for a separation. What the fuck? So I get it. Yes. Like women who are left by men when they're surprised by an exit, especially for a new partner.
A younger partner, possibly.
Either one.
Yeah.
Like I have plenty of divorces in my circle where they left for someone age appropriate, but it was a surprise and it doesn't matter. It's devastating.
Yeah.
And it does appear then that it's easier for them and they can do whatever they want. But that is not Kyle's situation. So I am deeply sympathetic for women who have a place to say that from, some solid ground to stand on. That is not Kyle. And she seems to think we didn't watch the season where Morgan was in every scene with her. Please, dude, please. She says about Mauricio, he's just living his best life, happy as a little camper. I would say that encapsulates the whole Morgan Wade season. We saw you giggling, getting tattoos, singing at a memorial service. She's everywhere with you. You love, like, giggling on the phone while you're out of town. Like, come on.
In a video together.
Right. In your bondage bathing suit.
wannabe bondage harness. And they're almost making out. And you know what, Margie? I want to call myself out. I want to mea culpa myself. She's also dating a much younger person. And, like, I don't give a shit. Like, date who you want. But it feels like, you know, women hit middle age and become invisible. Men hit middle age.
And a whole new world opens up.
A whole new, especially in Los Angeles, dude. Especially, I mean, everywhere.
But everywhere, yeah.
It's noticeable in that city. You know, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, I think a lot of relationships, I think there's more access to young people because they're always coming into this town. And I think there's lots of publicity around those kind of breakups and relationships out here. And but I do think there's definitely an argument for that. It's different for men to be true. But I wasn't having any of it. And that is where I appreciated this therapist for saying, why can't you do the same? And then she says something that, like, made some sense. She said, because there's a little part of her that wonders if once he's sowed his oats, if he'll want to mend the family. And she doesn't want to move on completely because then that closes that door. And he lets her know, like, that's the risk of a separation. That's what you've done here. That's what both of you have done here. But I'll just remind Kyle, you initiated this, Kyle. You were the one who stood in the door and be like, are you off the phone yet? Oh, you're going to go on your golf trip with your ski, blah, blah, blah. Like, come on. I get that everyone can have lots of feelings about this, but she's just left behind a huge part of what landed her in this moment, and it makes me feel insane.
We saw on camera when she had the ick for Mauricio. I remember what she was wearing.
The kiss, when he went in for the kiss?
Yeah, when he went for a kiss and called her love bean. Dude, you're right. Don't gaslight us, ma'am. We saw it.
I love the therapist for being like, no, you're not going to gaslight the world with me in your sidecar. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And then Kyle gives us this teary confessional that, again, is just bullshit. She goes, I never wanted to be a single mom like my mom was, stressed and afraid. Honey, your youngest child is 16. You are not a single mom. You can hire a chef every night to cook for your one remaining kid at home if you need to. I think she's going through an identity crisis, and that I have a ton of sympathy for. What I don't appreciate is her equating her experience to what an actual single mom experience is. I love watching the Heisman Trophy awarded to the top college football player every year because these boys get up there and most of them have their mom to thank, and they thank her profusely because often a father has been absent or left entirely. And so they talk about how valuable a single mom is to them and how they noticed how hard she worked and how little sleep she got and how she didn't eat when the boys were in practice and needed more food. And she would say she wasn't hungry, but they knew. And And then she would get out there and throw the ball around with them, even though she didn't know what the fuck football was. But like her kids loved it. And so those moms, their whole lives are devoted to getting enough money to keep a roof over people's heads and food on a table. And from there on, they're devoted to getting their kids to a better place. That's my interpretation and understanding of a single mom, the way Kyle reports it, of someone being stressed or afraid.
Yeah.
That's that experience.
Yeah.
Like, it's not someone who has 15 mansions, endless resources, a whole life and career of her own, children who are independent and thriving and healthy. Like, please,
I
this
completely
woman.
understand. I understand. She's not wrangling 3-year-olds for bed and then wrangling, lunches and snacks and trying to figure out how to drop off people at daycare. I co-sign on what you're saying exactly. I do. Oh, God, Kyle. Her life is vastly different from her childhood.
That's the thing, is her mom was that kind of single mom who struggled and scraped and got her kids to a place where she felt they would be safe and cared for. She's full of flaws, that woman, but she certainly was not going to see her children repeat her experience, and not one of them did,
Yeah, but not without a lot of fucking collateral damage, dude.
I know, but it's like I tell everyone, the best we can do is not give the same trauma to the generation below us. It's never going to be perfect or resolved completely. But I would say Big Kathy would trade her experience as a parent to hop into any one of those mansions, lifestyles. At least there's resources for Kim's addiction, and there's support for Kyle exploring a new aspect of her sexuality. There's a whole new set of potholes.
Yeah. I mean, Kyle did break the cycle. Kyle broke the cycle. And
She
breaking
did.
generational trauma is hard-ass work, and it is profound work.
And I
So,
appreciated it when she said she was proud that she was married so long, especially because there was no role model in her world for such a relationship to go the distance. And she said, it was my biggest accomplishment. And that broke my heart. And I was like, oh, but that doesn't get erased by a separation or a divorce.
No.
You were married for almost 30 years. That is remarkable. That is not a failure, but it is an amendment to her whole identity of 30 years. And at
Oh my
age
God.
50, it's
Yeah.
really hard to be like, what? I have to decide a whole new way to introduce myself. I'm not Mauricio's wife or these kids' mom. She always will be, but like that's not her primary identifier now.
I appreciate and acknowledge your compassion for her. I'm not kidding. I do. I really do. I really do. You know how I feel about victims. I have very little patience.
Well, I credit her therapist for cutting through her victim bullshit
For
and
sure.
getting her to these places to say, I was proud of this. This defined me. It's gone. And that gets us past all that other stuff. And then Kyle reports that Mauricio had expressed he was scared that he couldn't be on his own, but now that they're separated, he understands he can do this. And Kyle says that she didn't feel like he cared about her. It was only about his own discomfort. And God bless the therapist for saying, we don't know that's all he's saying. And then he said, this goes back to your age-old dynamic of struggling to get into the deep, messy conversations. So Kyle gets to weep and be a victim, and Jamie is having none of it. He's like, this is at the root of why this marriage is doomed to fail. And you don't know. I have this conversation all the time with myself and with friends and family members who spiral into that place. It's like, we don't have any information. Maybe you're right, but it's just as possible you're wrong. So either we got to ask and get a better informed opinion on this shit, or as always, as my therapist will always remind me, get back on my side of the street. It doesn't matter.
It's so painful that the automatic assumptions when you don't know is that it's terrible and it's going to hurt you. And I can't help but think it must be like a coping skill, like to set yourself up for, like, if I disappoint myself, whatever their truth is won't obliterate me. It won't just vaporize me into a pile of tissue that's been seeping in pain and misery and fear.
Well, and someone who was raised in alcoholism, that was proven true. It was worse than you could ever imagine every
Yeah.
time as a
Yeah.
child, you
Yeah,
know?
that's true. That's
So you
true.
internalize that and start to try to get ahead of it. But that's a pattern of thinking that we now have enough autonomy to break by asking questions and getting information.
And it takes a lot of mindfulness to stop yourself. Like what they used to say in 12-step rooms, I think, I feel like I've heard it everywhere, is you're powerless over that first thought, especially the kind of thoughts that are like negative. You do have agency over the thoughts that continue. You do have agency over giving into that negativity, fear, anxiety that came with that thought. And it's such hard work to break the habit of that, but it is possible. It's hard. That negative assumption is such a habit. It's a coping mechanism, sure, but it's so painful. And you're used to it. And I have to remind myself, like, what am I getting from this negative beating up? Like, what am I getting from this? How is this serving me to be so mean to myself about situations I don't know the answer to?
The little saying is you're responsible for your second thought and your first action,
Oh.
you know? So the idea is exactly what you're saying, that expect a habitual, horrible thought to occur to you first and
Mm.
then evaluate it and see if there might be another option. Kyle says that she was shocked that Mauricio didn't fight for her when she first suggested a separation. And this, again, this therapist, I think, is great. These are some of the most profound things Kyle has had to say in the history of this series. She said, I don't know what's more sad, if he didn't want to fight for me or if he wanted to and didn't know how. And I was like, oh my God. And then
Ooh.
Kyle says, either way, she feels like it's time for her to start moving on. But that was that was really thoughtful. Like, this guy is good at getting her to like understand what she's feeling and what is hurting her. Cause that hurts. They're both awful. Either one of those options is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Either he didn't want to fight for you or he wanted to and he doesn't know how. And that's not something you can fix in a person at this stage, you know?
I think it's so important in a relationship to have those conversations. How does a relationship grow and morph and evolve if you don't? How do you grow and morph and evolve as a person, like as an individual, if you don't take those risks and have those painful, so searingly uncomfortable conversations? You know, like, what's the fucking point, man? What's the point?
It's just, again, it's a cautionary tale. You can go really far, but you wind up really miserable. I know those conversations. They're the kinds where I just want to get up and leave every 5 seconds. And it's a choice for me to be like, just stay, just stick it out, just listen, just try.
Mm.
It's interesting just to see that, like, you can do a good job of bypassing that for a really long time, but there is no amount of money or time or technique of avoiding it makes it go away.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm.
anyways,
Whew. Then we pivot to Bose's beautiful house, and she is awaiting the arrival of Dr. Cindy Duke, who is a fertility expert. Most people refer to her as the baby doctor, and Bose calls her a magician. And Bose needs her services in her home. And I just wrote, I would if I could. I would if I could. Her nails, her waxer. Do it. Absolutely. Do it. So Dr. Cindy brought all of her gear. She brought an ultrasound machine to Bose's house.
and they lugged it upstairs.
Yeah.
Like, this is just the house call episode from Jamie at
Oh,
Kyle's
yeah,
house to
yeah.
like a fertility magician at
Yeah.
Bose's. I mean, I didn't have much to say on this. To me, this feels like pretty straightforward. Bose explains her pregnancy history, gets an exam, and has a relatively good egg house count for her
Mm-hmm.
age of 48. And
Mm-hmm.
then there's a lot of discussion with Keely about how the odds are quite low for spontaneous conception.
Spontaneous conception. I never heard
Yeah,
that
at that
before.
age.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, it just feels like what's expected if you're in if you're pushing 50 and trying to get pregnant.
Yeah. The only thing, well, not the only thing, the, mm, I got pregnant twice at the age of 42 and a half, right? I was 2015, so I was going to turn 43. Wait, hold on. Oh my God. 14 was 2 years. Yes, I was 42 and a half. Oh my God. I don't say this to be braggadocious. I say everything I'm about to say in case anyone is panicking about this. I got pregnant at 42. I expected it to take such a long time. I had very low expectations that anything was going to work. But, we were advised to just try. In fact, 2 years prior, when we were working for the Obama campaign, I did conception consulting at Northwestern. And they told me, and this was when I was 40, they said, if you don't start now, your chances are going to be very low. Well, we were not in a place to start. We got into some debt working that job. You don't make money working on a presidential campaign. You don't make money. We moved, to the mid-frickin' West. We left broke. We left exhausted. We were in deep inner resource deficit. We were in no space to try and bring a baby into our relationship. And I was so panicked. We also needed time to reconnect. I lost my fiance to that job. If I hadn't worked there, I never would have seen him. I'm sorry, I'm going on a tangent. My point is that it wasn't the right time. And yes, I had that voice. I had that doctor's voice. You got to do it now. You got to do it now. I'm just saying it's possible. And there is so much negativity. They call it geriatric pregnancy or something. It's just fucking awful. It's such a pathologizing experience to be, I think they start calling it a geriatric pregnancy once you turn 35 or something. It's just ridiculous. I don't get me started. I'm hoping that sharing my experience can quell anxiety around contemplating pregnancy at an older yet still reproductive age, or any age for that matter. Like Bose says, it's pregnancy is a scary thing, and it can feel so scary in your mind considering it. Are we going to do this? What's going to happen? I'm this age. I'm that age. What if we need intervention? It's scary all around. It's scary and it's great, but I validate the spectrum of emotions, and I just want to say I got pregnant at 42, and it wasn't necessarily hard. I'm not saying that people are going to automatically share that experience. I'm not saying. I just want to say that it's a possibility.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it's my sister's theory on statistics, which I love, where she's like, they don't matter. When it's your case,
Yeah.
your odds are 100% of your outcome. I know plenty of people, weirdly, there are a lot of people in my circle who are in the 2% of women who get pregnant from spontaneous pregnancy after the age of 45.
Yeah.
And I feel like in Los Angeles, that happens a lot because there's a lot of professional working people, and then they start trying in their 40s. And I don't know why that is out here, but that seems to be a thing. And then I also know people in my family, cousins, who started trying in their 20s and never had you know what I mean? It just I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's helpful to a point until it becomes something any of us rely on. 2%, if you're in the 2%, you 100% have a baby. If you're in the 98%, you 100% don't. Same if when you're 25 and you start doing it. If you're in the 2% who doesn't get pregnant, you 100% don't have a baby. It's just sort of like I get that it's useful to have that information to a degree, but not really.
I love that you brought up what your sister said, that there is the statistic and also there's the individual. And I had to always advocate for myself when my obstetrician or whoever, I was like, I don't want you to base me on numbers. I want you to base me on me. Stop it. And I said it so many times, and I said it with I pulled no punches. Is that the phrase? I pulled no punches. Like, I was there to be direct and set that boundary. Like, you're going to compare me to me. It's so hard to advocate yourself with doctors, man. It can be. I still have a lot of resentments and anger about it. I still have a lot of feelings, negative feelings about it because of doctors and all of that. But
Yeah, and
anyway,
part of it is how they're trained.
I know.
Part of it is it's just not like medical school, the emphasis on compassion, is not, that's not it.
It's so
It's,
infuriating.
yeah.
It's so infuriating.
But I thought Bose seemed really centered coming out of all of this with that information. She was just like, look, we're advanced in age and these are the realities. And I have as good a shot as anyone at my age with my good egg houses. So we'll see.
Yeah. So then we move on to the getting ready for Jennifer Tilly's party montages. And we learn that Sutton and Jennifer Tilly have been going to Caviar Caspia in Paris for years. I love it. And then she says she likes the most expensive caviar. Then Sutton says something, egregious. Sutton says, yes, I love the most expensive caviar, while someone like Porit orders the orange roe you get on top of sushi. Holy effing shit, man. Porit.
Yeah.
Cruel. Ruthless.
And again,
Savage.
this is after the fact. So all of this, like, she felt terrible about it. It's like, really? Because she's in two separate confessional looks.
Oh, damn.
Doubling down.
Damn.
Again, and it would have been funny except for what Dorit is actually going through. Like, Dorit actually stands to lose everything. And that is not funny. It's completely devastating. And she has two small children and a deeply unsupportive and unwell husband. Like, I guess if you get your way, will you be satisfied, Sutton? Will you be so delighted?
Oh,
Will you roll
God.
around in your money while Dorit
Suffers?
scrambles to
Yeah.
survive?
Yeah.
Is that
struggles? Yeah.
Yeah, I hope that really
That's a
actually
great
makes you
question.
happy. But I guess
Oy.
you can just go have caviar in Italy and you can just let the poor people figure it out for themselves out here.
Oh my God.
I just hate this attitude. It really makes me sick to my stomach. So, and this is just the beginning, and I didn't know what was to come at that point. But already there, I was like, oh, Sutton, especially coming off this like Augusta visit where I felt for her. And I'm just like, oh, you're right back in being better than everyone because you're richer than everyone. I just wish that wasn't so, but it's true. So great. Then we have Bose and Dorit driving toward the party, and Bose encourages Dorit to remind Sutton that she's needed in the sisterhood. And Dorit thinks Sutton was looking for a reason to leave her party when she arrived at that barbecue, and I think she's right.
Mm-hmm.
And Dorit, in her confessional, says something very wise. She says Sutton needs to stop playing the victim in situations she created and then manipulate people into believing she's the innocent one. And I was like, there is alcoholism in a nutshell.
100 cosine.
Nailed it.
Yep. Truly. Yes. Yes.
And Dorit says that Sutton's behavior has been really inconsistent. She's experienced the compassionate version of her, which was the one on the boat who said, Dorit, I'll stand by your side when you go through this divorce. And then she's also experienced the evil version, which is the woman who called her a bitch and stormed out of her daytime barbecue with children. Great.
Babysitters.
Yeah.
Babysitters.
I just...
Ooh, yeah.
Also just so insulting to like everyone else at that party. I'm sorry. So you're above children because they don't have more money than you? They have to wait? I hate her. I really have had it with her.
Yeah.
Are the people who have children supposed to be embarrassed that they brought their babysitters to a party they were invited to? Like, what are you fucking talking about?
I know.
You're such a monster.
I know. So again, like I said at the beginning of the episode, Jennifer Tilly arrives and trips just for you, Margie, just for your entertainment. She looks stunning. She's resplendent, opulent, gorgeous. I have nothing else to say. What can you say?
So much jewelry. Caftans I usually think of as being like a Palm Springs thing where you just wear as little as you can because it's so hot. So I was like kind of surprised and intrigued by the heavy jewelry pieces around her neck. She always gives you something to look at, man.
She does. Her friends Anne-Marie Stanton, Whitney Tancred, and Diana Buck show up. And I Googled these women because I wanted to know who her friends were. Anne-Marie Stanton is a purveyor of antique and estate jewelry. She owns an antique and estate jewelry. I don't know about store, like just, I'm sure. Business. Thank you. Oh my God.
That was probably what was around Jennifer's neck. Probably.
Oh, maybe.
I'd never seen anything like those before.
Whitney Tancred is a publicist. And Diana Buck, who is the one that Jennifer Tilly said will give you the shirt off her back and has been known to take her shirt off at the pool, she does transformative dog training. Kyle, you should call Diana Buck and get some help for your dogs. Okay, you have all this time now. Mother the dogs. I'm not trying to dog shame. It's just, I don't feel
chaotic.
like
it's always chaotic. She's always yelling at Storm for something.
God, doesn't she have a dog named Romeo too?
Yes.
Okay.
And like a little
Who
one.
Who did this?
I don't know.
In the dollhouse? In the kids' like playhouse? I don't know. So Diana, meet Kyle. Kyle, meet Diana. Erika Jane arrives. Everyone looks stunning.
Mm-hmm.
In her confessional, she says how Jennifer Tilly is friends with Sutton, she doesn't know. And I'm like, I know. It's because they both run in billionaire circles. And they both love couture. Like, Erika, what do you mean? Garcelle looked resplendent. Kathy Hilton shows up, and she looked like shit. She's got all that money, and she just
wearing
get
like a lemon costume. It was insane.
It looked cheap. It looked like polyester.
All of her dresses look like something from Contempo Casuals. It's really interesting.
Oh my God, Contempo Casuals.
But I look at them because I see the dress and I'm like, oh, I would have loved that in 8th grade. And then I see it on the richest woman who's like in her 60s. And I'm like, what's going on?
I don't know.
This is cognitive dissonance.
Kathy shows up with the morally corrupt Faye Resnick, and she's also one of Kyle's closest friends. And I wrote, and I was probably being a real bitch. I wrote, that tells us everything we need to know about Kathy Hilton and Kyle. They're friends with the woman that wrote an exploitative book about her best friend who was murdered at the hands of her husband in an extremely violent way, and who was painted in the press as being almost quasi-deserving of it.
But this is the Dolce & Gabbana question I had for you at the beginning.
Jesus. Okay, go ahead.
It's like,
you're right.
It's just something to think about because it's like, where is the line? It's like, I don't know if I can condemn. Look, I am not a fan of Faye Resnick by any means. I think her existence and the fact that anyone knows her name is like, it's just a tragedy. The only reason we know of her is because, like you said, she exploited one of the most devastating, the crime of the century.
Mm-hmm.
But it did, that's why the Dolce & Gabbana thing occurred to me, because I was like, Jennifer Tilly is impossible to hate, and yet she proudly proclaims these are like two of the closest people in her. I don't know.
I hear what you're saying. My child of an alcoholic thinking is still fraught with all or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
The gray is too scary for me.
But you find it with Jennifer Tilly.
I do find it with Jennifer Tilly because she's like beautiful and has clothes that I like.
It's good to know the on-ramp, though. That's good to know.
Okay. Well, thank
Kathy
you.
Hilton, again, in her polyester Contempo Casuals, does not offer that on-ramp.
And she's a terrible mom, and she's a racist, and she's a homophobe.
Does not live in reality.
No.
She is a checked out.
Dude, you're not wrong.
Oh, my.
Anyway.
And then we check in with Sutton, Kyle, and Kyle's assistant, Jen, who got dragged to this party for some reason. And Kyle says...
Dude, seriously.
Kyle just rewrites history and says Sutton was the first one at Dorit's party and no one was there. And she sat there and she sat there and she sat there. And meanwhile, the whole party is alive and bumping 6 steps away. And Dorit is just upstairs, so Sutton could have called or texted or hollered or anything, and she just doesn't. And this is where I wrote down all of these addictions and Al-Anonism as well. It's a disease of perception. Sutton narrowed her focus to make herself a victim, and Kyle is codependently buying in. And in the flashback they give us, I almost got like a visceral look at the disease of perception. Because in the flashback, they have Sutton walk in and say hello, and it echoes, and it looks like she's totally alone. No one's there. There's no life in that space. And it's like, that's how I'm capable of experiencing things too. If I want to feel like a victim, I can shut out everything that doesn't serve my story and just focus on an echoey room where I'm all alone. I don't know. I just thought it was
Margie,
really
yeah, you do,
interesting.
dude. Yeah, you do. You fully know it. What I got from that scene in the car is that Kyle was laughing at Sutton throwing Dorit under the bus with the Babysitters Club dig a week or less more after she and Dorit have that heart-to-heart that poor Dorit probably thought was genuine. And I wrote, man, with friends like Kyle, who needs enemies? And this is the same kind of laughter that Kyle did when she and Mauricio and Dorit and PK were having the conversation about Erika Jane being completely racist and shitty to Garcelle's son at that party. Like, she laughs, like she knows she shouldn't be laughing, but she can't help herself. And I fucking hate people like that. Okay, let me reframe. I hate when people indulge in behavior like that. I find it really it's gross. It's mean. It's just mean.
I thought it was so satisfying because I felt the same way watching this. I was like, you assholes. So Kyle is buying in and supporting Sutton, but then give it an hour and Sutton is so fast to throw Kyle under the bus and be like, I wasn't in a robe on a street corner. And I was like, ooh, see, when you ally yourself with an alcoholic, you have no friends. There is no loyalty. Anyone is fair game for being thrown under the bus to serve their argument. And I was glad to see it. That was instant karma for Kyle. Like, giggle at the Babysitters Club all you want. You're next.
Oh, shit.
Dummy.
You just gave me chills in my stomach.
Yeah.
You just gave me chills in my stomach. Maybe it's because my dad wasn't the same as your dad.
My dad was Sutton. I'm just telling you. So, like,
I mean,
that's
they
why
definitely
it's so
share.
raw.
They definitely share qualities, and they
Including
share
the charisma, including the great
Yes.
parts.
Oh
Like,
my
that's the
God.
challenge.
You're so lucky.
It's why I still give a shit.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd be like, write that asshole off. But it's like, God damn it. He was really funny and so smart.
God damn, dude.
He loved dogs. God damn it.
I know. Oh, Jesus. A charismatic alcoholic is it's so hard. All alcoholics are hard. Let's be fair, but yeah, the charismatic ones are just.
Well, and it's what made him a great lawyer. And I actually thought of him as Sutton was drilling down on this. You're worthless because you have no money. You don't deserve to talk to me, let alone pick on me because you're broke. And that's the kind of stuff that made my dad an excellent lawyer. You give him any case and he will fucking destroy the other side because he's ruthless and there are no boundaries and nothing is off the table. And the law kept him in bounds a little bit, but he was so smart. He could masterfully work within that. So he won everything. Because as you see, when the whole table shuts the fuck up once that argument comes out. And that's what my dad did in a courtroom. He was a brilliant litigator. He would say the thing that would suck the air out of the room, and then the jury was almost shamed into taking his side.
Damn.
It's an incredible skill. And especially when he was fighting for a good cause, it was wonderful to see. But when it's working toward the bad, it's a real intense bummer. So,
Oof. I'm silently clapping for what you just said. You're so you're so right. You're so I could visualize all of it. In Sutton's confessional, she says, "I don't know why Dorit would come for me like that. Maybe there's obvious. Some of the folks in our circles have lifestyles that Dorit aspires to have." Oh, Jesus Christ! Just cruel, unnecessary.
personal. So does your
Yeah.
whole audience, you bitch.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you.
Yeah.
That is so. I've never felt more poor in my life than in that moment of just being like, yes, we do all aspire to your lifestyles. That's why we watch. And now I feel ashamed of that. I used to just look at it like you go to a museum to look at art. I'll never own the Mona Lisa, but it was sure a thrill to see her. But now it's as if the Mona Lisa was like, you don't deserve to look at me. You're
my
too
God.
poor.
Oh my God.
It's
That's
so
such a good
mean.
point. You're right. It's cruel. It's cruel and unusual, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I felt so bad I had secondhand insecurity for Dorit. She shows up and she's the only one that's not in a caftan. Sutton shows up looking fucking fabulous.
Man.
Bag matching the dress, amazing eyeliner, amazing. She just really embodied the whole vibe, head to toe, hair, makeup, dress. She was like giving 60s, 70s realness, as the kids say. Maybe not, they don't even say that anymore. I don't know. But she was a vision.
This whole
Sunglasses,
season,
all of it. All of
this
it.
whole season, as much as I can't stand her, every hair look, every makeup look, from her entrance when she pulled up in that high pony and a backless sundress, the very beginning
Oh,
of the
yeah, you're
season,
right.
to this, I'm just like, God, you just nail it. I'm so with you. Yeah.
And then Garcelle says, I don't know if everyone was thinking it, but I have often when we've discussed this particular franchise and we've discussed Dorit, I have often shared my disdain for her label whoreness. Oh, that was a terrible thing to say. How can I rephrase that? Her commitment to labels, like it feels so. It feels basic to me. Her labelness. It's one of the like money screams, wealth whispers. Garcelle says, "Does Chanel not make caftans? Is that why Miss Thing is not wearing one? Everyone else is." Ooh, I I understood why she said that. I did. I've said it in different words. I'm a mean girl too sometimes.
You're not a mean girl. I also, again, having sat with people going through divorces, I just am like, the fact that this girl is here and in a
Okay.
dress is
Okay.
like miraculous. So it just says, it makes me happy for Garcelle that she's in such a place with so much distance from her divorce. Remember, Garcelle sent out a whole email to you're not in a good headspace when this shit gets underway. So I wish she'd have a little, but it also is what makes her a housewife to be like, she didn't wear the right outfit to the party. That's going to be a problem. And I'm like, right, that's why I watch these shows. Because, I don't know. And I guess I've also been under or overdressed at various occasions. And I was impressed with how not bothered Dorit was by it. Because I will spend the whole event being self-conscious and apologetic and just wanting to get the fuck out and change and disappear. So
Yeah.
I don't like the
Oh, yeah.
Garcelles of the universe when I'm the one who's come in the wrong outfit. I hate
Yeah.
those people.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, yeah, I fucked up. I don't know. Now
Oh,
what? I
God.
feel terrible. Are you happy?
Yeah.
Should I go? Should I stay? Did I ruin your day? I hate it. I just don't like that.
It's so funny that you said that. Is that store still on Beverly Boulevard called Minotti?
I don't know.
It sold like Italian furniture and vintage furniture and
Oh,
art,
maybe with like big glass windows on a
huge glass
corner.
windows, and it's on
Yeah,
a
I think it
corner.
is still
Yes.
there. Yep.
So I
On like Robertson or
worked an
something.
event there. I worked an event there where I checked people in, and it was an auction. And so when people bid on things and they won it, I would bring them the item from the back if it was small enough. Like someone bid on this beautiful vintage, such a cool, probably 70s or 80s Italian phone. It was just stunning. Anyway, I was not dressed appropriately. I think I'd come straight from work. And the other day I was thinking about it like, oh my God. Oh my God. I cringed on the inside. Like like even right now, I'm just like curling up into a ball because I wish I could do it over, but I didn't. And I had to just stay. I was committed. And these people were wearing fabulous outfits. And my outfit was cute, but uh, it wasn't for that party. I was just thinking about it. Ugh,
Yeah.
ugh. It's a palpable feeling I still have.
Yeah. It's such an
And what's
unpleasant
underneath that
feeling.
is like, oh, people are going to make an assumption about me that isn't true. That's what I was assuming. Dr. Jamie would have called me out for that. Jamie Green would have called me out for that. They probably weren't thinking about me at all. Anyway, I love that store. Ooh, beautiful things.
I've
Any hoops?
never been in. I didn't know. I didn't know I knew anyone who had. This is
Oh,
amazing.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, my God. Anyway, I feel like Dorit was just raw meat for the wolves, and they all smelled her weakness, and they're just all going in. I notice right now I'm not even breathing as I say that. Like my chest is tight, my neck is tight, my jaw is tight. It was uncomfortable to watch. So
She does such a lovely job of handling this. She just says, I miss the caftan memo. And part of me is like, I think she's so exhausted from divorce stress and stuff that it's just like, this can't matter to me, so let it matter to you. And then Sutton in her confessional goes, is she stupid? And I was like, oh my God, and again, these confessionals are filmed after the event. So Sutton knows she's already said hateful shit that the whole room was like, ooh, dude. And she's still just like, I'll also call her stupid. She's poor and stupid.
Ay, ay, ay. I hear what you're saying. I don't know what it's like to go through what Dorit is going through. I don't know what her experience is. I can assume. I appreciate and acknowledge how much compassion you're showing her. I don't know if I buy it. She aspires so much to be a fashionista and curate that image for her of being a fashionista. And when she said that she doesn't like caftans, I got bristly. I feel like you either get caftans or you don't. And I get caftans. I judged her because she didn't.
That's fair.
It's so fucked. It's actually, it's fucked.
Fine. It's fine. It's like, and I could, based on what you're saying, that could absolutely be 100% the truth. That she was like, I don't like caftans. I'm just going to go in what I'm comfortable in. And if a friend called me and said that, I'd be like, yeah, choose something flowy-ish and just feel good in your
I
body.
would too.
Like,
I would too.
Don't force yourself to wear something when you're already in so much discomfort in your daily life. Don't go to a potato party in something that you don't like feel good in. So.
Oh my God, you're so right, dude.
But I
You're
don't
so
know.
right.
I don't know. But based on your angle on this, I think you could be absolutely right. Because she did choose something that was caftan inspired, you know? She wasn't in like a structured dress. I don't know if she missed the memo or not.
And then in her confessional later, she says like she has to drop the name Dior.
Mm-hmm.
It would be completely believable if, I mean, I'm pretty sure there was mention of Jennifer Tilly's caftan being couture. Maybe someone just assumed it was, but if it wasn't, it was absolutely something fabulous and vintage. You know, like she doesn't need to name drop Dior, and that's what makes her fashion so compelling. That's what makes Jennifer Tilly so fascinating, is that she eschews all of that bullshit and does what she wants to do, wears what she wants. She'll be damned if you don't give a shit. You know, like, fuck it. She doesn't care. And I love that. I love that. And I wouldn't even call her a risk taker. She just goes to the beat of her own drum. And Dorit doesn't take risks. She's very safe. She finds safety in the labels, it seems. And I don't respect that on her, from her.
That's fair. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know, man.
It's fashion is art, man. It's
It
to
is.
taste. There's a lot of Dorit's choices over the years that have not been to my taste.
Yeah.
But she would just say, I don't understand them. And she might be right, but it's art. It's like, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But I guess my takeaway from Sutton saying, is she stupid, was that Sutton was not there to have, as Dorit later points out, Sutton was not there to have a constructive conversation. She was there to do exactly what she did, which is skewer Dorit and make her look poor and dumb.
Ay,
So
ay,
mission
ay,
accomplished. Hope you're happy.
Ay, ay, ay. Ay,
Except
ay,
she
ay.
didn't. She doesn't look dumb. She just it's like you stated a fact. She has less money than you, and you're really reveling in that, and that makes you gross.
Yeah, it does.
And then we have the water moment. Sutton has ordered water, and Dorit asks Sutton if she's drinking water because of their tete-a-tete the other day. And Sutton goes, no. Is it not okay to drink water? And then, of course, in my head, I'm like, she had a roadie. And and I feel like it hit her at the table. Because I don't know if you noticed her like starting to mean mug and do that thing where she lowers her head and her eyes stay.
Oh, yeah, I noticed
fixed
that
on
for
people.
sure.
To me, that's my experience of lots of alcoholics. When they start to want to take me on, they lower their head and they keep their eyes up. You know, and I feel like her roadie hit her when they sat down at the table, and then all of a sudden she had lots of confidence and energy to say stupid shit. Because she also had another name-up moment where she repeated shit. I don't know. She just, whatever. What do I know? Again, all I'm doing is projecting, but I also just don't like her, whether she was drunk or not. Everything she did was inexcusable. It was so ugly. I feel like Dorit was just trying to open up this inevitable conversation. And Sutton says, she won't leave me alone. It's like, if you want to be left alone, then don't say, is it not okay to drink water? Like, you're also part of this, ma'am.
I don't think Dorit was coming from a place of graciousness, openness, or wanting to
No, she had been
start a
called a bitch, but
conversation.
I'm just saying this conversation was inevitable at this event, and I feel like Dorit found a organic in. I
She
don't
did
think
it
she
in
was
front of everybody, though. I think she had mean intentions.
but to what end? Like, what was she gonna do? Because when the fight plays out, she's just taking bullets and saying what happened.
I think I'm just referring to the water moment. I think that when she said that, like, I would just sit down and not say anything. And then
Hmm.
maybe when we were walking in, I'd say, hey, hi. She gave the same kind of coded jab that she did. You're asking if Sutton's drinking alcohol? Like, oh, are you drinking water because of our tete-a-tete? It felt like it was coming from that same. She was going for jabs too.
Yeah, I could definitely see.
Her jab was not on the level of, well, maybe to Sutton it was, but her jab wasn't on the level of the one that Sutton gave her. But it was still a jab at
Yeah,
Sutton's drinking. She was
no, I
poking at
could
her sore
see.
spot.
I would probably receive it the same way that you're saying. I would probably be annoyed by that.